Okay, keywords to avoid, and really this generally comes down to, particularly for those of you that like to do Amazon affiliate type sites, even sort of AdSense type sites. It's the main sort of keywords you want to avoid are those where there's a clear e-commerce lean in the SERP, or a lean towards high domain authority sites. Now, I tend to use Moz for most of my keyword research when I'm having a look at SERPs. So I tend to work on domain authority. That's just the way I do it. You have, if you use some of the other programs or software out there, you can obviously tweak the process. But I mean, the core won't change no matter what piece of software you use for it. Basically, the idea is to identify keywords that are not worthwhile going after because you have a low chance of breaking into the top 10 or breaking high into the top 10, which is ultimately where you want to get, sort of in those top 3 or 4 positions. So what is an e-commerce lean? Well, and where do you find it? Well, usually you'll find it with the super short tail type keywords, and keywords where you don't have like a describing word to go along with it. I'm no English and grammar teacher, but I think it's called an adjective. It's a describing word. So a good example would be like a recumbent bike is one that has, you know, quite clearly an e-commerce lean. I'll talk about this in a minute. So what you really want to be looking with these sorts of keywords is to have the word best in front of it, or review or reviews after it, or other describing words such as, you know, top, comparisons, compare, best rated, top rated, all those sorts of keywords that actually, you know, make a slightly longer tail keyword, but it'll avoid this e-commerce lean. So what is this e-commerce lean? And I've got all the different types of exercise bikes up here to illustrate the point. And basically what you'll find is it's a lean where usually it will be where, or an e-commerce lean specifically is where you'll have sites that are actually selling directly from their site. So, you know, Amazon, this one here, Dick Smith Sporting Goods, eBay, I haven't looked at these ones, but I presume these ones are selling directly. These positions in 8, 9, and 10 are selling directly. Probably that one as well. So quite clearly, this search, this particular term has a lean where Google favors sites that actually sell directly from their site. So what you'll also tend to find with these, if the site isn't directly selling from their site, if they don't have like shopping cart, usually you'll come up against high domain authority sites, e.g. Wikipedia, and there's numerous other examples as well. It doesn't matter which ones you look for. I've got recumbent bike here. If we go to, you need a straight out exercise bike, we can see e-commerce, e-commerce, e-commerce. I think that's e-commerce, 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 presumably e-commerce. Yeah, so basically straight up, and then you got a Wikipedia down the bottom. So basically all of those results are selling something directly from the site. So unless you're planning on doing the same with your site, if you're just writing an information type article, whether it's an authority site or an Amazon affiliate site, it doesn't matter. If your article is just going to be information and sort of comparing the best exercise bikes without actually selling direct, then you look at the SERP and quite clearly those sorts of pages aren't, and those sorts of sites aren't prioritized. And it doesn't matter which one you look for. You look at upright bike, look at folding exercise bike, which is a bit of a unique one. It doesn't really matter. And then even if you come to, when you do actually have those describing words, it's really important to look at which iteration of that actually works out better. So in this example, if we compare best exercise bike with exercise bike reviews, and this is really, really common with anything that's an Amazon affiliate type keyword, is you'll typically find the review or the reviews type keyword will have an easier SERP than the best. And what you'll quite often find is the best will have a slightly higher competition in the top 5 results, and there'll quite often be a lean towards e-commerce sites, but it may not be a completely dominated SERP. And so what you'll often find, and this is a good example, is we've got the one in position 2 and the one in position 9 here. They're quite clearly information, Amazon affiliate type sites. They're broken into the SERP, but they're the only 2. The rest of the results in the SERP are high domain authority, or they're selling directly, so they're an e-commerce site. Whereas if you look at exercise bike reviews, you'll notice, it's still not the easiest SERP in the world, but it does have some really low domain authority sites. And when I'm doing keyword research, the way that I've always been taught to do it, and the way that I've now adopted, is to pretty much look at domain authority. You want to have a domain authority of under 75, and page authority of under 50. If the majority of results in the top 10 fall under those bands, and I suppose those authority levels, then it's a reasonable SERP to go after. But you look at exercise bike reviews, you've got one result here. This one's borderline, but it's a big site, big broad site, so I wouldn't. It's not the easiest in the world. You got easy one there, easy, easy, easy. Okay, so this SERP, if you were to compare then and say, okay, I want to do an article on exercise bike reviews. I've seen that there's good search volume, and there's tons of related keywords here, by the way. Should I target? Am I better off targeting exercise bike reviews as my main headline keyword, or am I better off targeting best exercise bike? Well, quite clearly, if you look at the results, this is a really high domain authority with the exception of 2 results SERP, whereas this one has much more room in the SERP. So exercise bike reviews in that instance would be the one that you're going to target. Now, does that mean you can't still, does it mean it's impossible to rank for recumbent bike or exercise bikes? No, it doesn't mean that it's impossible to rank for that. It just means that if you're looking to target keywords on your page, you may as well target the ones where it's clearly been identified that you're a good chance to rank. There's no point really wasting your time and effort trying to optimize for those short tail keywords. In targeting exercise bike reviews, if your site ever got to the right level, you would ultimately at some point start to rank for exercise bike or exercise bikes, because you're targeting that anyway. But that's the keyword that you do all your income projections and your traffic projections on, because that's clearly the keyword with the most room to move. So I suppose the takeaway message from here is you want to look and make sure for any given keyword, even if it does have a describing word like e.g. best in front of it, quite often you'll find the best may not pass. So like if the exercise bike reviews was as competitive as that, I wouldn't even go after that SERP, because you look at that and there's only 2 results out of the top 10 that are sort of low competition type sites that are comparable to the standard sort of site. So unless you're going to develop your site into a big, broad reviews type site or information type site, it's a long-term play to rank for those sorts of keywords. So if you found that the best and the reviews was similar, just pass on it, do something another keyword, because there's plenty of other keywords out there that do pass. But yeah, it pays to have a good look through once you've identified that headline keyword that you're going to target. Then you start to work back and say, okay, what other keywords can I be including in my article either side? So either shorter tail or longer tail, and go from there. So hopefully this has been of value, and obviously it's really important to know not only which keywords to target, but which keywords to just totally pass over. If you just know straight away that pretty much those 2-word type keywords, usually you're just going to pass straight over them, don't even bother looking at them. That saves you time. It also saves you a heck of a lot of headaches when you've spent 6 months on a site and realize that, oops, hang on, I've tried to target keywords that didn't have a description attached to them, and therefore I was really destined to fail on that particular keyword anyway. So yeah, avoid the e-commerce lean, and make sure you're looking to see, just make sure that there's not too much of a lean towards high domain authority sites.